How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys Alex and Nick. And today we're discussing an interesting kind of alternative to Aaron Judge. If Aaron Judge walks and the San Francisco Giants are extremely aggressive, and they kind of give him a little bit more money, that extra year, that ninth year is what might ultimately be the deciding factor, and a little bit more cash, he could easily walk. And, in that scenario, the Yankees need to have a backup plan. And I think that I kind of put together a decent plan that even if Judge walks, I'd be pretty happy with this. And I think it would be a really great offseason for the Yankees. Now, you'd have to give up some capital in the process in terms of prospects to get this deal done. Definitely a lot of them. But, it might be worthwhile to lock down the infield for the foreseeable future and put together what would be a pretty damn good outfield. I think still one of the best outfields in baseball. So I think there's a lot of, excitement around both of these aspects and both of these different packages that I'm going to put together for you guys. But Nick, before we dive into it, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm good. I'm doing really well. It's my first episode I've done in a while. Been the last couple of weeks here of college, so I've been finishing up classes, taking 7 damn classes this semester, which has been hell, but we're almost done. Then we'll be full-time ESM, FSY, baby. Let's roll. So we're finishing up here. Got 2 more weeks left of school, but I'm doing really well, man. I'm excited for winter meetings officially really kicking off this week. They began yesterday. We've already had some big moves. Justin Verlander, of course, is a New York Met. Steve Cohen said, you know what, fuck that. DeGrom left. We'll just go get Justin Verlander. So hopefully that means the Yankees are going to do something, because it's like we were for a little bit there wanting Verlander, and a lot of Yankees fans were kind of in on Verlander, especially after last year where we had made him the offer for like 1 year, and then he ended up going back to Houston for a prove-it year, and he was phenomenal. So for all I know, insane the amount of money people are getting now. So that probably means that Judge is going to be, like you said, looking for that 9th year, 35, 40 million at least a year. Winter meetings are fully among us. I'm excited, dude. I hope Judge signs here in the next couple of days, even if it's not with us. Just stop having me wake up every morning constantly refreshing my feed, seeing, did Aaron Judge sign? What do you do? What do you do? I'm just getting anxious.
I'm very annoyed by it. I'm like, the theatrics of it is fun, and it creates good news and headlines and stuff, which is cool, especially if you're a news company like we are. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I'm also a Yankee fan, like through and through, and you are as well. So like, we kind of just want this to be done. We want to know what the future of this offseason looks like. But I'll tell you what, the first package deal here that I'm going to propose is the Yankees go out and sign Aaron Judge, they sign Carlos Rodon, and they retain Andrew Benintendi, right? That's the 3 players you keep. That's pretty damn good. I'd say that I'd be very, very happy, if not ecstatic, with a haul of that magnitude. You plug left field, you got your superstar right fielder MVP this year for the next 8-9 years, and you create what I would actually say is a super rotation with Garrett Cole, Rodon, Sevy, Cortez, and Frankie Montas. It doesn't get much better than that, if we're being honest.
People were shitting on the Montas part of that. They're like, what is Frankie doing here? But guys, we have to remember Frankie Montas last year had like a 3.1 ERA when we traded for him from Oakland. Yeah. He was the guy that people were saying, and I can like specifically remember these conversations where it's like, Luis Castillo isn't that much better than him. Everyone was saying this, and then he has like 4 bad starts and gets injured, and everyone's like, fuck you, Frankie, you're terrible. And it's like, what? Guys, let's just give him 1 season here. Let's give him a full year in pinstripes with Matt Blake. Work it through a little bit. He was terrible with his sinker and splitter when he came over. But now, I don't know, dude. I really like that idea, because I want a super rotation for this team. I know everyone talks about how the offense is what died in the playoffs, and it is. But if you can get a good pitching rotation, a good bullpen, have some depth and some pieces, like if we can somehow be able to use Domingo Germán as that 6th, 7th starter, that's a great luxury to have. Domingo, I'm sold on him after last year. He did a lot better last year than I thought he would. So like Rodon seems like the most obvious, like, you should be a Yankee option. And I feel like this has been going on for a little while. Even around the deadline, the Yankees were very heavily linked to Rodon, and they just couldn't really get it done because I'm imagining the Giants wanted too much. There was also that hesitancy around what's he going to do next year with his 2nd-year option. How much is he going to want? All that stuff. But I don't know, dude. I would love to have Rodon come over because he's a lefty as well. And you put him in that rotation, you have 2 disgusting lefties in he and Nestor Cortez. That's one of the best lefty punches you can imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're looking at the alternative package here that I have in mind, so this is obviously extremely important to know the whole aspect of this video in general. So the alternative to Aaron Judge is pretty damn good, right? So in my mind, this is realistic. If Judge walks, you go out and the Yankees have been connected very heavily right now to Brian Reynolds after he requested a trade from the Pittsburgh Pirates. So Pittsburgh's like, we don't want to trade him, blah, blah, blah. We've heard that a million times from GMs across the league, but Brian Reynolds is like, everyone says that because they don't want to lose leverage. They want to like be like, it have to cost a lot. The only way for players to gain a little bit of leverage is to publicly say, I want to be traded, which is what Brian Reynolds did. So right now, the Yankees have been connected to him for a long time. This is not a rumor we've heard, we haven't heard before. And if you can get Brian Reynolds, he's an awful center fielder. If you can get him, let's say he goes and plays right field, right? He goes and plays right field, replaces Judge there. You're getting a really, really good offensive weapon. Defensively, he's doesn't have good jump, doesn't have good outfielder jump. Actually has decent speed, decent arm strength. Obviously not Judge caliber, but he isn't the best in terms of jumping on those fly balls. So
I'd say he's about average, around average for defense.
He's about average. Right. So he's about
average. He's probably maybe a little bit worse than Benintendi levels. Like I'd say he's a little bit worse than Benintendi.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable comparison. And you look at now left field, you bring in Benintendi, so that's one of the holdovers from the first option. So right now you're sitting with Brian Reynolds in right field, who's going to cost you pennies on the dollar, right? He's cheap because he has 3 years left of control. So factor that into the equation here.
Not cheap, well, it's cheap like money wise, but we're going to have to see half the farm off for Brian.
Okay, so yes, and that's the other part of this equation that I was going to get to is like to get Brian Reynolds, you're giving up Peraza, you're giving up Everson Pereira, you're giving up Austin Wells. This is the mock trade I came up with. Was Austin Wells, Pereira, and Peraza. Right, I think that those three, it still might not even get it done. You might have to throw Gleyber Torres in there.
Warren, maybe an Elijah Dunham, or Brandon Lockridge. And these are also what's nice about some of those guys is that because some of those guys aren't even on the 40-man roster. So it's like, what are we gonna do here with these guys? Like I'm a huge Elijah Dunham fan.
Anyway,
Yeah, sorry, that's what it was. Yeah, so it's like I love Elijah Dunham. He had a great year last year, put up a 119 WRC plus, one of the best performers in a minor leagues for the Yankees. But he didn't even crack AAA. And he's 24. They're going to be 25 this season. So it's like, what are we going to be doing with a lot of these guys if they don't have a pathway to the majors? You got to get rid of them, and you got to sell them while they're high. So what better way to do it than to acquire one of the best outfielders in baseball, a switch-hitting bat that's actually good at switch hitting, unlike Aaron Hicks, and put him in one of the corner outfield spots? I'm all for. And honestly, dude, this is what I hate about the Yankees sometimes. I love this team. I love the organization. I'm excited for baseball whenever they play. But it's just some things that kind of irk me where it's like, look, we're talking about these two alternative options, but if we're being for real, there's no reason the Yankees couldn't sign Judge and go get Brian Reynolds like that if they didn't want to bring back Benintendi. Because the thing is that I think that Reynolds, Benintendi, Yoshida, I've even thrown in Conforto and Haniger and all those guys. I think they're all kind of roughly the same value and same level of baseball player. I will say I think that Brian Reynolds has the highest ceiling because we've seen what he can do in the past. And even this year, you look at Brian Reynolds' season this year. You take away a March and April and a May where he bat 204 and the dude bat like 290 the entire season. And I'm not a guy that uses batting average a lot, but it's like he puts good contact on the baseball, hit 27 home runs, good speed, like you said. The only downside is that his defense just isn't that shiny. But like a Reynolds, and then you said a Bogarts as well for this package, as I'm going to let you get into more. I like this option. I like this option a lot. I know a lot of people are like, oh, we can't lose Judge for that. What are you doing? Judge is not going to be a 10, 11 F4 player again. And I love Aaron Judge. But you can get 3 or 4 guys that are going to add up to 11, 12 WAR for the same price you get for Judge. We're not trying to moneyball this shit, We're not trying to look at guys that get on base to replace Giambi and Damon. We're like trying to figure out, hey, is it really worth spending $350 million on one guy? It's the hardest question for baseball for me. Even for Mike Trout when he got his $500 million deal, it's like, is that really worth it? And look at what the Angels have done since.
Yeah, and look, like you just mentioned the other name that was an important part of this thing, like Xander Bogaerts, right? So that's the key here because you're getting rid of Oswald Peraza in this prospective trade for Brian Reynolds. So now you have an opening at shortstop, which Xander Bogaerts, sign me the fuck up. Okay, like that's, because you have Bogaerts until Volpe is ready. And then Volpe transitions to shortstop, and Bogaerts can play second. He can play third. He can remain at shortstop. You can put Volpe at second. Your options are just now. The world is your oyster when it comes to the infield, and you don't have to worry. You still have DJ LeMahieu. And look, Peraza, if you're going to go, he is expendable if you lose Judge. If you don't lose Judge, I don't think it's necessary. You also have Oswaldo Cabrera, by the way, who can play any of those infield spots. And we haven't even mentioned his name. So, if you walk away with Bogarts, Carlos Rodon, who is another, that's both packages have this. Mm-hmm. Carlos Rodon, Bogarts, Benintendi, and Brian Reynolds. I'd say that's probably the best case. The only better case scenario would be Trey Turner over Bogarts. But, I'd say that if you had those 4 guys and you lost Judge, I'd still be very happy with this offseason. I'd say we got better this offseason, right? We got better. So
because you still can run Bogarts in like the 5 hole if you wanted. You could run him in the 2 hole. You can do the same thing with Brian Reynolds. He could be a leadoff hitter. Andrew Benintendi could be the leadoff hitter. Like that, I will say what I like about that is that it gives you numerous different options on the offensive side of things. If we retain Judge, I think it's going to be Judge and then pitching. I think that's the Yankees offseason. But if we sadly lose Judge, we're going to have to pivot. You cannot sit on your thumbs if you lose the MVP and expect the team to just be the same or somehow have internal options pop up out of nowhere and become great baseball players. Everyone loves to say, let the kids play. But you can let the kids play at certain spots, at certain positions. Not every team's full of rookies. The Astros did not let the kids play at every position. They let Jeremy Pena play. So it's like, if you can figure out the spots that you can have internal success at and you can get by at that, then don't go all in for those. Like I genuinely think the Yankees could get Andre Chaparro at third base, a big Ryan Garcia guy, and have him play there and just get rid of JD and they would be fine at third base. Same with second base. You just move on from Gleyber Torres if you wish and put Volpe there or play DJ there. Like there's so many options that the team has that I like to see, but the only problem is that this all hinges on big boy Aaron Judge. Because Rizzo resigned from, the hope that Judge is still a Yankee. Apparently, you've got words that Giancarlo Stanton and other Yankees players are in constant communication with the front office, basically saying, what the hell are we doing? How are we keeping Aaron? And again, if Judge leaves, I love this. I really like the alternative plan because I think Bogarts, Reynolds, and Benintendi offensively are basically like all shoo-ins for at least 2-3 F4 for a season. Those guys are all very, very good baseball players, and they're all contact-driven, batted ball-driven approach guys as well, which the Yankees desperately need more of. But if we lose Judge, we lose Judge's chambers in right field. We lose the number 1 jersey sales in baseball on our team. We lose the most popular player in the league on our team. We lose the most searched athlete over the last season.
The face of our franchise.
The face of the franchise, the guy that people think should be wearing the captain's seat. Like, give this dude his accolades. So it's just going to be a really, really interesting week or two if they lose Judge. It's always, we have a backup plan in place, don't worry. And then you see what that backup plan is a lot of times.
So bad,
like, well,
every year.
This sucks. Yeah, it's like, what the hell? This is the backup plan? I would have hated to have seen if we lost one of these guys.
Well, so the reason that the backup plan doesn't always work is because a lot of players don't want to play for the Yankees. And
sadly, it's become
just because we have a backup plan doesn't mean we're actually going to get those players. They may outspend us. So our backup plan is only
was
good.
A Yankee. Corbin was a Yankee. And all this shit just went like, no, we don't need him. And it's like, what? What do you mean? And then the backup plan was like, we're going to sign Aaron Hicks to a 4-year deal. And it's like, what is this?
7-year deal.
Clint Frazier staying here. Like, we can't lose Clint. We can't lose Chance Adams. Like, all these guys we could have had elite players for in the past. Like Miguel Andujar, of course. We could have had Verlander if not for Miguel Andujar.
Yeah, I mean, look, the situation at hand is that I still feel pretty confident we're going to retain Judge. And for the record, if we were to retain Judge and trade for Brian Reynolds and get Rodon, you're a World Series caliber team. That's sexy. That's sexy.
That's a good ass off season.
Would you rather give up $15 million for Benintendi, or would you rather give up a prospect haul for Brian Reynolds and 3 years of control at a cheaper price point? That's the question. And I'll go on a kind of a hill here and say that maybe if you trade Peraza, it's your willingness to trade Peraza. Everson Pereira doesn't matter. Your outfield's the best in baseball. You don't need to really worry about Everson Pereira is probably a trade piece anyway. Austin Wells, really like him. I think he could be a future like starter on this team. I think he could be great. But another guy, like, we're not sure about his arm strength. A lot of people are concerned about his arm. So, we are
especially
kind of sitting here
he took steps forward what, but that's kind of going away.
It's going
the
away.
automatic zone coming soon. So it's like, well, you took a big step that way, but again, you still can't really nab people and gun people down to where we're still thinking maybe your first base DH in the future.
Right. So there's a concern there, and I'll go one step further and say, look, if we trade Peraza, it's not the worst thing in the world. Why? No. Because you have Oswaldo Cabrera. And he's the guy. If Volpe is your shortstop, Peraza is only a holdover until Volpe is ready. We all know this. Everybody acknowledges this. If Peraza looks great, and he will because he's an elite defensive player.
Yeah, he's a great player.
They're not. That's not going to stop them from putting Volpe at shortstop. He is the future.
They held on to Volpe all trade deadline for this reason. Like the Marlins were very in on him. The Reds really wanted him for Castillo, and the Yankees were like, "Sorry, no." Like, I'm a big Jocelyn Dominguez fan. We talked about him a ton. I think the Martian is going to be an absolute superstar. But the Yankees, on the other hand, and the organization are much bigger Anthony Volpe fans. So it's like if we trade for Dominguez, or trade for Brian Reynolds, I wouldn't be surprised if the Pirates start off asking for Volpe, asking for Dominguez. And then we're like, hey, we'll give you Peraza and Dominguez. And that's even pushing it for us. So it's like, because Brian Reynolds, like you said, the control is really the big thing for him. He's going to probably be making like 6, 7, 8 million next year, which honestly is nothing for a player of his caliber. So it's like, you got to think, if you're the Yankees, what are the Pirates going to come in here hot with? And how are we going to be able to counter? I don't want it to be a situation where it's like, oh yeah, we didn't lose Volpe or Dominguez, but we lost 6 prospects. Because then we run into what are we going to do with the depth? I know the Yankees do extremely well in replenishing the farm, drafting quite well, really involved in the international draft as well. But it's like, guys, 6 prospects for one guy. This guy's got to be worth it. He's got to be him. We have to know. So that's why it's just the capital route. I like to go more than the signing route a lot of the time, because you have more say, you have more negotiation power. You can kind of see what the market looks like out there. But it's just, I don't know if it just sounds so weird to be thinking that, hey, we're going to replace Aaron Judge with Xander Bogaerts, Brian Reynolds, in a full season of Benintendi, who just broke his hamate bone and we didn't get to see in the postseason. So it's like, that's a bit of a risk. Like, I like it a lot because I think Xander Bogaerts especially is getting far too little credit this offseason for how good of a baseball player he is. But what would you say? Would you be happy if, because Rodon is the one guy that I think, like, I agree with you. We get him for both either way. Like, I think if we keep Judge, we still go get Rodon. If we lose Judge, we got to go get Rodon because our pitching's got to be even better to make up for the lack of offense. So what would you say? Which one do you like more? The option 1 or the option 2? The keep Judge or the move on from Judge and replace him?
I like keeping Judge, and it's for the reasons you listed before. You can't replicate. You can replicate the production with a couple of different players, combined, but you can't replicate the impact he has on your team in terms of he is the face. He is the guy that puts people in seats. He is a world-class guy. Like, he's a great human.
He's just an amazing human. Yeah.
You can't, those intangible, he's also your leader. He's going to be a captain. He will be the next captain if the Yankees retain him. But Hausheimer has already said it. This is a situation where losing him is not just losing a player, you're losing a person. And you're losing one of the best people on that team. And a guy that drives everybody. He's the one that when your rookie player has a really bad sequence, as a bad at bat or a bad defensive error, he stands in front of them so the cameras can't look at him. That's the kind of guy he is. You know what I mean? Like, you're looking at just a stellar human being, and that alone, that value alone you can't put a price tag on that, but we are. And ultimately the Yankees have the price. They have the capability to do that. Look, if the Yankees sign Aaron Judge, in my opinion, you have a 5-year window to maximize on his value. The second portion of his deal, you're screwed. Like, you're eating money for the next 5 years. He's DHing. He's not playing in the outfield. His numbers probably are going to drop off at some point. His athleticism, aggressiveness on the base, it all reduces significantly. So, in my opinion, I think the first half, you got to win a World Series. If you can win one World Series over the next 5 years, it was worth every penny. Because right now we can't even make it to the World Series.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people are acting like if we lose Judge, it's not going to make us that much worse. And if we keep Judge, it's like, guys, you have to realize every year we build out this roster, and every year we hear the same spiel. We believe we're good enough to compete. We think we have the guys necessary to win. And then every year for the past 12, 13 years now, since 2009, we haven't. So at what point do you just say, fuck it, we're going all in? We're getting Judge. We're going to get Rodon. We're going to trade for Brian Reynolds, and we're going to let the kids play in the middle infield. Josh Donaldson, your days are numbered. Aaron Hicks, your days are numbered. Kyle Higashioka, we're going to try to move you. Like, make things happen. Out with the old, in with the new. That's the mantra for this team. Look at how every team operates. The damn Astros just got Jose Abreu for like free. No one even bat an eye over that, which is crazy. And they're just getting better and better. It's like, look, if the Yankees want to compete and be that big dog in the AL like they once were, they have to show that they're serious about it. They can't just be doing these 1 or 2 offseason signings during per offseason. And they can't be doing this, we're getting the 3rd or 4th guy. Like Rizzo, granted, he was very, very good this year and had that little power resurgence. And he was basically as valuable as Matt Olson. But everyone knows Matt Olson and Freddie Freeman were the guys. And the Yankees elected to go with one of the other options. So they can't do that again this offseason. If we lose Judge and our outfield is going to be Benintendi, Bader, and Conforto, I may lose my mind. Like I was telling Ryan, it's going to be, we're going to lose Judge and we're going to replicate him with Tyler Naquin, and that's our outfield. And it's like, oh, God, please no. And then seeing the Mets spending money, you have to be active and spend money. Like, what the hell, guys? If we lose Judge for $320 million for 9 years, I'm going to be livid. If it seriously comes down to we wouldn't give him 1 more year, if we're already offering him 8, it wouldn't kill you to offer him 9. And like you said, that 5-year window is all you need to think about. Because for the next 5 years, every year with Aaron Judge in your team, you'd have 1, better shot at bringing over more appealing and talented players to play with him. 2, you could be able to move around your minor league system a little bit in the outfield position because you know you have Judge locked up for 6 years playing outfield. 3, it doesn't hurt to have the AL MVP on your team. I don't care if we didn't make the World Series last year. He was the best player in baseball. A few other things go our way. We play better playoff baseball, and we don't run out a different lineup every damn game. Maybe we advance. I don't know. But those 3 things for me are the biggest things. Like the next 5 years, we could easily be World Series favorites each year if we keep Judge and get a starting pitcher that's an ace. Rodon and Judge would be the ideal offseason. Even the Marlins are looking to sell everyone. Go get Jesus Lizard, Jesus Luzardo, or Sixto Sanchez or Edward Cabrera or everyone's favorite Pablo Lopez. Like there's some options out there that we can go do and make this team incredibly good. That I think that bringing Judge back is just the first domino to fall in that field. And I think we should definitely bring him back. I like the alternative option because I love Xander, but you can't beat Judgy, man.
Yep, I agree. But, this is an interesting conversation, guys. I'd love to hear your perspectives below in the YouTube comments. As always, appreciate you guys tuning in with us at Fireside Yankees today. Make sure to enjoy the rest of your day. Like, subscribe as always, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.